So we wanted to solve one very, very specific thing from a semantic layer perspective, which was we wanted to make it so that the maintenance of a new metric and how we could expose that in our application will be as low as possible. That means that we didn't want to write different case statement, filtering data on the front end. We didn't want to do that. I think it would have been just, again, a problem of scale. And also, we wanted to build this in a way so that it will be extremely secure. So there will be no way then somebody is in one customer in one place could access in any other way, like somebody else's data somewhere else, right? So of course, it's kind of like a given, but it's super important for us. So we look at various different kind of like providers, and fundamentally, we decided to go into Cube. And there are a few reasons why we ultimately decided to use Cube for it. So the first one, and I think it's pretty important, is that it's fully open source, which means that we can host Cube ourselves. We can use Cube Cloud for it if we don't want to manage resources, but fundamentally give us that flexibility that if any time we wanted to not be logged in, we could, right? So that was one. The second thing, which was also important, we wanted to have a lot of flexibility on the sort of like API layer or API access around it. So how do we actually go and query this data through the semantic layer? And I think what Cube is pretty great at it is that it actually provides everything you want. So you want to query your cubes through a graphical endpoint, you can. You want to use REST API, you can. You want to use the SQL API, you can. So it's super flexible because it means that we can actually choose then to push the same metrics in various different sort of like application, right? And that's exactly what we do. So we use the graphical endpoints to feed the semantics models and metrics inside our application. We'll see an example of how do we use exactly this. But also because Cube has a very extensive integration layer, we actually use also this in Hex. So again, it creates this single source of truth where the same metric can be queried from inside our application or from our own internal analysis and reporting through X, which is the tool we use. So a couple of things that sort of like Cube allows us to do was they have this concept of query write, which means that we can pass a JWT token on the fly, and the query gets modified on the fly based on the user entry and who is actually logged in the application. So it gets super secure. The actually query gets written from a front-end perspective of like our front-end developer. They actually have to just sort of like chain the queries and feed those into the right chart, but they don't have to worry about filtering because that's actually happening at the lowest level as possible, right? So again, scalability and ease of use. I don't think our front end engineers should even care about it. They'll just like, this is the endpoint. You have to display this data here, and they should just take care of that.